Welcome back. Okay, so surprise, surprise, you already clicked on the title. You know that I'm doing another Rebel list. Small caveat, I'm not a Rebels player, but I have a sneaking suspicion that this Rebel list is actually competitive. Um, it's what I've glimpsed being played on a couple of other tables. At least the core component to it really. This is going to be what I call dad joke Dodonna. It's a heavy bruiser MC-75 supported by B-wings, which are ridiculously good. I think they are fantastic bombers, and I wish they didn't exist in the game. They have a boatload of hull, and they just stick around and they do a decent amount of damage with the black and the blue anti ship, and they're not exactly a slouch when it comes to anti squadron. 3 blue anti squadron is halfway decent. I mean, 50% hit success on an anti squadron shot. Yeah, that's not bad. 5 hull. I thought they had 6. Anyway, 5 hull. Let's go ahead and jump into this. As per the usual, I'm using Ryan Kingston's Armada Fleet Builder. There are other fleet builders, but none are as good. And that's no slight against all the other creators that have made their list builders. This is just cakewalk compared to those. So, like I said, it's going to be a Rebel fleet. We're going to call this Dad Joke Dodonna. I currently have a Rebels player in my meta that plays a list probably exactly the same as this. I think I've made one change to his list that he doesn't exactly run. So I know what the change is, and a smart and seasoned Armada player will actually be able to, a Rebels player will be able to choose which one was the throw in and change it back to what it should be. Well, that being said, let's go ahead and start tearing this list apart. So the first thing that we're going to want to go ahead and do is let's start with the Bruiser. How does that sound? The Bruiser is at ship. The Bruiser's an MC-75, and it's the MC-75 armored cruiser. A lot of people staring at this like, wait, what? Yeah, we're going to go with the MC-75 armored cruiser, and it's 104 points. It's slightly more expensive, but it's a beast, and we're going to use it for every ounce that it has. So the first thing we're going to do, Dad Joke Dodonna, is going to be Dodonna, obviously. Dodonna, I wish that we had this great general on the Imperial side. The ability to choose the critical that's happening, it's ridiculous. I think that it's a little overpowered, a little imbalanced, but I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. I think it's terribly imbalanced for 20 points. You get him with the core set, and he can sustain you through the entire game. The Imperial general that you get with a core set, Grand Moff Tarkin, sees exactly 0 competitive play, and I'm a little bitter about that, just a little bit bitter. But I mean, there's worse things in the world. Okay, so enough pleasantries. Let's just go ahead and jump into how we're going to outfit the rest of this. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some activation advantage through Strategic Advisor. Can only be put on large ships. You got a large ship, and when you take large ships, it means you're not taking a whole bunch of small ones. So you're going to need some activation advantage. This will allow you to play out turns how you choose to play them. The next thing we're going to do, since this is basically a black dice boat, it's got 2 black dice there, we're going to want to do some re-rolling. And instead of gunnery team, we're going to go with Ordnance Experts. So we're always going to want to kind of split our arcs. So you're going to want to put your front and a side at somebody. So it's always going to be canted looking at somebody. The next thing we're going to do is our defensive retrofit here. You got a 50-50 shot with early warning systems and ECMs, or early warning system and electronic countermeasures. I would definitely suggest electronic countermeasures, but I will not fault you for flying with early warning system. I'm going to click electronic countermeasures because you always want to have the ability to use that brace. You have a brace, a redirect, a contain, and a contain, so you're always going to be able to contain. And whether or not they choose your brace or your redirect, you're going to want to be able to use what they say you can't. It's going to make you last a lot longer. And then the next thing we're going to go ahead and add is expanded launchers here. So now our front arc is 3 blue and 4 black. Jeez. Behemoth. Much. It's really nasty if you get up close and personal with it. You should be able to get up close and personal with it. That's the best way I'm going to put it. You should be able to do this. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add in another ship. We're going to add in the secondary backbone of this fleet, and that's the Pelta command ship. So the Pelta command ship has 2 more squadron value, and you're going to need pretty much your entire fleet's squadron value to activate the second part of this fleet. So with our modified Pelta here, our command ship, we're going to go ahead and add in Adar Tallon. So when you resolve this, you can just go ahead and get basically a double tap out of whatever squadron you want. So the activations, 1 squadron. So it gives you the ability to also use them in the squadron phase. Then we're going to jump in here. We're going to go with fighter coordination team, so that way you can move extra with your slow B-wings. This is very handy. We're going to add in all fighters follow me, because you know what? More movement, also good. And I think, oh no, sorry, take that back. We got to add in some boosted comms just so we can turn those squadron commands out and not really get this Pelta in any danger. It's not exactly weak, but it's not exactly strong. It's got a brace, a redirect, and an evade. So you're going to want to stay at long range to make the most out of that evade. And then just turning back to red is generally enough to just help. All right. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and add is, you guessed it, GR75, the 18-point ship. 18 points for an activation. Wow. Okay. There are squadrons that are more expensive. Okay. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and on this one, we're going to add Major Derlin. And where are you, Major Derlin? It's in alphabetical order, so I should just really... That's General Draven, not the right one. There he is. Today's been a long day, guys. Sorry. So we're also going to go ahead and add Bomber Command Center, because yes. And then we're going to add Bright Hope to this. So this is the I want to stick around forever GR75. You are basically always reducing the damage that comes in by 1 because of Bright Hope, and then reducing the damage that comes in by another 1 because of Major Derlin. You could split Derlin up and put him on the next ship that we're going to add, which is another GR75. And that way they both kind of are survivable. But in reality, you don't need the second one to survive as long. And it's kind of a funky little ship. We're going to put CommsNet on it, and then we're going to put Ahsoka Tano on it. So this entire point is to give it a token and then allow that ship to change that token to whatever it may need at that point. So you have the most flexible CommsNet ship in the fleet for 22 points. Still cheaper than the cheapest version of the Gazanti for the Imperials. All right, so that's actually your ship side set here. So a fairly stocky build, 5 activations. You got a bruiser, you got a squadron command ship, you got a squadron assisting ship, and then you have a fleet assisting ship. All right, so let's go ahead and add some squadrons. With all the new meta that is happening, with all the new crits that are going to be coming out, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of damage control officer on a lot of ships, at least on your command ships, so that way it doesn't get, eaten alive by all these special crits. But until that time, I definitely suggest taking Nim. One moment just to take a look at Nim, because in my opinion, he's a little broken. He's everything Sloane wishes it was. So on a blue crit, if the defender is a ship, you may choose and discard one of its defense tokens. Wow. Okay, so that's a blue crit. Bomber Command Center. While a friendly squadron with bomber is at distance 1 to 5 and is attacking a ship, it may reroll 1 die. It doesn't have to be a black die. It can be a blue die. So that's actually incredible. So that allows you to, I didn't get my crit there. There's my crit. That's what I need. So this blue crit is ridiculous. It's a way to murder an ISD. Take away its brace and you're murdering an ISD. Okay, so next thing we're going to go ahead and add is Shara Bey. It's up here. So Shara Bey is a nasty little ship. She's fast. She has decent hull. While performing a counterattack, each crit icon adds to the damage total, and she has counter 3. So she is actually just there to tie up squadrons. So she's going to be off by herself, never really taking a command, or maybe taking a squadron command, to get and place herself in the middle of whatever squadron ball you see, and it's to tie up an opponent's squadron ball, so that way your squadron ball can do its job. So Shara Bey, that's your entire point, and it's to use that counter to just rip into people. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is add the ball part of the squadron ball. And I already gave it away at the start of the video, so today we're going to be running B-wings. Lots and lots of B-wings. 2, 3, 4, 5 B-wings. And that's our dad joke Dodonna fleet. So the joke here is that crits hurt. Bomber. So you have 6 bombers in the fleet, Bomber Command Center, and Dodonna, allowing you to pick the criticals when they happen. You also have a black dice boat with Ordnance Experts, allowing for greater chance at crits. There's a little bit of different optimization that you could do through this fleet. If you dropped Derlin, you could add in, XI7s or something like that. But as is 399, that's where you're at. It's a 400 point game, and you've got a bruiser, and then you've got a squadron ball that will melt ISDs. It's pretty good effectiveness. And then on top of that, you have the ability to just respond however you need to with Ahsoka Tano and your Comsnet Gazanti, giving you a token to run your All Fighters Follow Me, or this gets slicered, you take the token and then you use Ahsoka Tano to put the token to what you need to make All Fighters Follow Me. So you're never going to not have what you need for your All Fighters Follow Me. Okay. Next, we need to take a look at our objectives. So for our red objective, these are going to be fairly standard. So you're running bombers. What better thing to do than precision strikes? So it's pretty much a no-brainer here. after a squadron with bomber or a ship performs an attack, its owner gains 1 victory token for each damage card that was dealt face up or flipped face up during this attack. Oh my goodness. That's a little imbalanced, especially considering that you have 6 bombers. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to add in our defense here. Now this is the oddball one, and I'll take time to explain why I chose Fleet Ambush, but Fleet Ambush. This portion setup, the portion of the setup area beyond distance 5 of any edge of the setup area is called the ambush zone. So your opponent, if they choose this one, has to put their 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7. If there's not a realistic way to get more than 7 deployments with ships into that zone. Let's see. And they have to deploy all their ships before deploying any squadrons. So you get a chance to see where that first ship's going to go, respond with, a GR-75 to see their 2nd deployment. Then you'll place another GR-75 to see their 3rd deployment. And the 3rd deployment is going to go in the box window again. And then you can place your Pelta. And then you can place your MC-75 with your final ship. And you will have seen 1, 2, or 3 ships inside the deployment zone. And then you get to place your squadrons. And they're likely going to be within squadron flight range on the first turn. So you can just pulverize them from turn 1 with your bombers. Okay, so Fleet Ambush is a pretty good option there. The next thing we're going to do is add in our blue. No surprises here, superior positions. You got bombers, they can fly around to the rear. All they have to do is 1 damage to the rear and you get a victory token. You've got tons of ships that can do it, tons of squadrons that can do it. Make the most of it. Have a good day. Okay, so that's the fleet. I know that this really, really closely mirrors one of my players in my meta. And I hope that he isn't ego crushed by it appearing online. I have changed things. There are some things that I think are personally suited well for this, but overall I think you get the idea. It's a bruiser, it's a fighter slinger, it's a squadron slinger, and then it's a squadron supporter, and then a fleet supporter, and then a bomber ball, with some way to tie up squadrons if and when it comes to it. Now there are other options. There's I think a couple other things that you could sub out Shara Bey for, or you could choose to run Y-Wings just for fun's sake. But all in all, it's a great build. I've seen it run. It runs well. This is a competitive list, people. It's the closest thing that I'm going to get to a competitive Rebel list without spending the next year playing Rebels for myself. If you have any questions or comments, please just leave them down there. I'm going to try and respond to any comments I get. And if you find us on Facebook, Houston Star Wars Armada, you can see our little information down there in the ticker tape at the bottom. Feel free to message me, show me pictures, send me a video of this fleet in action. I'd love to see it. Other than that, guys, have fun, fly casual.